Now, India's Ministry of External Affairs has expressed deep concern over the recent escalation between Iran and Israel, particularly regarding attacks on nuclear sites. The Indian government urges both sides to avoid further escalation and to instead utilize existing diplomatic channels to de-escalate the situation. India's MEA says its mission in both countries are in contact with the Indian community. All Indian nationals in the region are advised to exercise caution, stay safe, and follow local security advisories. This is the statement that has come by the Indian Ministry of External Affairs, which has expressed deep concern over the recent escalation between Iran and Israel. For more on this, WION's Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Siddhant Sibal, is joining us on the broadcast. Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs has also expressed deep concern over the recent escalation between Iran and Israel, particularly regarding the attacks on nuclear sites. What can you tell us, Siddhant?
Well, it's an important statement by India's Ministry of External Affairs, essentially pointing out that dialogue and diplomacy is the way forward and pointing that it has good relationship with both Iran and Israel, and essentially telling them that if India could help, India is more than eager to do so. Now, we need to also have a context in terms of India's relationship with both Israel and Iran. Iran is a neighbor in many ways, part of India's extended neighborhood, a country which, of course, has suffered from terrorism emanating from Pakistan along with India. But with Israel, we know that there is a strong partnership in terms of security and defense. And many Indians have gone to Israel to find livelihood as well. There are approximately 4,000 plus Indians in Iran and approximately over 26,000 plus Indians in Israel. We know that India has asked the Indian communities in the region, just not Iran and Israel, to follow local security protocol because it is given that there could be a massive retaliation from the Iranian side. Now, as the West Asian region heads towards a crisis mode for India, the big question will be its diaspora and, of course, its energy as well, which India gets from the West Asian region in terms of the crude oil prices that can see a spike. So India has a lot at stake, and India's statement points to how India is keen that there should be a de-escalation rather than an escalation, because a de-escalation is something that India is something, of course, welcome, but also it helps India as well, given the large diaspora and energy requirements. But an escalation can create problem for India, not only in terms of its nationals in the region, but also in terms of its inflationary impact here in India.
Absolutely, Siddhant. Of course, from what we do know, following the strike on Iran, crude oil markets have reacted sharply, with prices settling over 9% higher. India, of course, has urged de-escalation as well. It's urged both sides to avoid any further escalation, instead utilize existing diplomatic channels to de-escalate the situation as well. They are in contact with the Indian community, and Indian nationals in the region have been advised to exercise caution, stay safe, and follow local security advisories. Are there any other advisories that we know of, Siddhant, that may have been issued for the Indian communities?
Well, as such, we know that the Indian mission in Israel has issued a statement earlier today. The mission in Iran also has issued a statement. India, of course, is closely monitoring the situation. In fact, the India statement also points out to strikes when it comes to the nuclear sites of Iran by Israel. So India mentioning that in the statement is a big development in many ways. But we know that there has been a lot of anxiety already building up. In fact, earlier today, we know that Air India has diverted and also returned to origin many of its flights, almost over 15 flights internationally amidst the closure of the airspace as well. So the Indian airlines, which already, of course, have a problem with Pakistan closing its airspace for Indian airlines, now will also have to bear the brunt of closure of the West Asian airspace as well. That means impact on the aviation business, impact on the flight costs, and longer routes for the Indians and other foreigners traveling to India.
All right. Well, Siddhant, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this. We'll, of course, continue to track this closely. So this is the latest that we do know so far. There has been a statement that has come from India's Ministry of External Affairs, where India has expressed deep concern over the recent escalation between Iran and Israel, especially with regards to attacks on the nuclear sites. The Indian government has urged both sides to avoid further escalation and to utilize existing diplomatic channels to de-escalate the situation. India's Ministry of External Affairs says that its missions in both countries are in contact with the Indian community, and all Indian nationals in the region are advised to exercise caution, stay safe and follow local advisories. This is the statement from the Indian Ministry of External Affairs. The US Embassy in Jerusalem also issued a security alert. The alert said, and I'm quoting here, as a result of the current security situation, the US Embassy has also directed all US government employees and their family members to shelter in place until further notice. And then, of course, we have the statement by the Indian Ministry of External Affairs, which has urged restraint on both sides. For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.